Hey YouTube, it is Easy Prepper 101. For Christmas, I asked for a bread maker, and my mother and father-in-law got me the smart bread maker, my KitchenArm, and the one that we have here is one similar that what my cousin has, but my mother-in-law and father-in-law got me one that's a few grades up, so I'm very curious to try how this is going to be because making bread. Also, she has a recipe to make kind of almost my grandma's homemade coffee cake, and definitely trying to get into making our own breads because as we all know, the cost of breads are going up almost every few months. So it just depends on where you're at. Sometimes they're on sale. So me and my wife, we talked about it. And it was definitely something I wanted, and very excited. So we're going to pull this out of the box for you. All right, now we got everything taken out of the box. You guys didn't need to see that. We're going to explain what it comes with. It comes with two kneading paddles, which is great. They give you an extra one, which is very nice. They give you a metal hook for the removal. They give you 3 cups, measuring cups, and then 3 measuring spoons. Now we're going to do an overhead shot to show you how to take out the bread pan in top here. All right, so to get the pan out, you're going to do counterclockwise. You're just going to pull right out, which is great. What the bottom looks like, and then on the inside you kind of see the heating coil in there. And then we also have all of the bunions from the menu: loaf size, dough, timer, minus or plus, homemade, crust count, and then kind of start stop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to clean all of our products here and get everything ready to attempt to make our first bread. And the one thing I wanted to show you guys, which I forgot to do when I was talking about all the products, it comes with 2 manuals here. We have the user manual, and then we have a recipe book. Going over this book, it has literally, I think it's almost, let's see, it has, I think it's 77 recipes of all different types, from gluten-free stuff, if you're gluten-free, if you have to all different types of breads out there. The one thing I'm actually kind of looking forward to trying these recipe books was I'm in a bowling league, and a long time ago, one of the bowlers who doesn't bowl with me anymore, he just didn't want to bowl, it wasn't fun for him, but he would bring in zucchini bread, so that's definitely something I'll look forward to a video long down the road. But for today, what we're pretty much going to do for our first time, just to see how we do, is we're just going to do the basic white bread, menu one basic white. We're going to try that one for sure. But we're going to get this all cleaned up. We're not going to show that. The next thing you know is we're going to just put it in the ingredients in. All right, so now we're going to add everything, and my wife is going to tell you what ingredients and how much we're using.
So we are doing the 1.5 pound basic white bread. So we are going to need 270 grams of water, which is 1 1/8 cups, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1.5 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt. Then we're going to need 433 grams of bread flour. You also could use all-purpose flour. All right, so now that the bread flour is in, you're going to make a little depression in the middle of the flour for the yeast, and then you're going to pour the yeast in there. And we are using active yeast, so that is 1 1/4 teaspoons normally, but because we're using active yeast and it's freshly opened, you add another extra teaspoon. So ours is 1.5 teaspoons of active yeast. So we're going to pour that into that middle depressed section. And now we're able to put the loaf pan back in. We put the kneading paddle in the bottom already.
Okay, so we have the bread maker on. We have it's all powered up. We're on menu 1, which is the basic white bread, which is what we're using. Now all we're going to do is just close the lid and hit start. And I don't know if you can kind of hear it a little bit, but it's going to kind of stir it up. All right, as you can see now, it is mixing itself. And what we're going to do is we're going to come back about every half hour, 45 minutes, do a quick little video just to kind of show you how this is going. Okay, so at 3 hours and about 12 minutes, it finally was beeping. You could smell it through the entire prep time. So now what we have to do is hit the start stop button. Then all we have to do is just unplug it then. Then it tells you get a cooling rack, as you can see I have right here. So then we're going to lift this up. And we just have to push, pull out. And then you have to let it sit for 2 minutes, and then we will then pull it out. All right, so it's been about 3 minutes. It says 2 to 3 minutes. So now we just got to take it. And that came out real perfectly. And if you could see the I don't know if you can see in there, but the spinner is actually in there. Now, I do know that sometimes that can get stuck in there. If so, you just get the little hook here and you just kind of fish it out in it. So that's why you have the hook. So right now, this smells really good. Now, it says in the instructions that you're going to want to let this cool down 2 to 3 hours if you're going to be storing it in plastic. But right now, this is a nice little half a loaf, which is actually perfect for what me and my wife, because we buy a brand out there. I'm not going to say the name, but it's a half a loaf. And like I said before in some other videos, it costs like $2.29 to possibly almost $2.79, just depending, for a half a loaf. And that might last, maybe 10 days, but you got to remember all the stuff they put into it to keep it preserved to last that long. Now, these breads, depending on online, says they're good up to 3 to 5 days, but it also depends on how you store it. So, but we're gonna let this sit for a little bit. But then what me and my wife are gonna do is we're actually gonna cut this here. So what me and my wife are gonna do is we're actually gonna try the warm bread, and we're actually gonna cut the 2 pieces off with some butter and let you know what do we think of the bread. All right, so we have it on the side. We have some butter here that we're going to do this with, and like I said, for this being a half loaf, this is definitely perfect for 2 people. If you have a family of 4, you would probably go through this in a sitting. Depending on what you're going to be eating, this would be good probably for French toast, nice and hard. But what we're going to do is do the first cut. I really enjoy the heel. I really love the heel of the bread, and I don't know if you can kind of see from a little bit of the steam coming off of it, but the bread, you can see how soft that really is. Smells really good. We're going to just pause the video. We're going to do another slice of bread. We're going to butter them up. Okay, so we have our 2 pieces cut in half. Me and my wife are both going to be trying this at the same time, and you're going to hear her comments and mine. For it being, fresh and hot, nice and soft in the middle, and over time, the crust will get a little bit softer, as it says in the instructions. But for this, just, cooking this, doing a half a loaf, very impressed with this. One thing me and my wife were talking off camera is to get like a bread cutter so we can kind of cut this evenly. I didn't cut it the greatest, but it's really good. So we're going to have my wife tell you what she thinks of her reaction.
I really like the bread. I think it's got a nice consistency. It's super soft, and the crust is not crazy hard or anything like that. It's just a little bit stiffer than what you're going to get from like a store-bought white bread. But if you get something out of the bakery, it's very similar to the crust you're going to get there. And like I said, when you wrap it in the plastic or put it in a storage bag, the crust is going to soften as it sits. So I have a feeling that the outside crust will be very similar to what you find in a store-bought white bread pretty soon here.
So yeah, so for our first time, we are super impressed with this, making this for the very first time. pretty simple. One thing we kept doing was going back to the instructions, but I just know in time it's just going to be second nature, just like anything. But we're gonna keep working on getting the white bread dialed in into where that. But like I said, we really love this, and with this being a half a loaf, this is definitely something better than that. So all in all, so love. So I just want to say thank you to my mother and father-in-law for getting us this bread maker. We're gonna love this bread maker. And right now, off camera, my wife gave some to the dogs, and they're eating it up real quick. So write in the comments down below if you guys have a bread maker, if you guys are using it, if it's something that you're starting to do because you can kind of see the price of bread is starting to go up. And if there is, if you got some recipes out there, maybe to do some other types of breads, that are out there, put those in the description. I would love the help from that. Or if you maybe can give me some tips and tricks along the way of what can make bread better, please let me know. Hit the thumbs up if you like this video, and if you haven't, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys so much. We will catch you guys down the road.